Everyone, my name is Kat Oriel with Forbes Breaking News, and today I'm here with Rep. Mike Collins of Georgia. Thanks so much for joining me today, Congressman.
Well, thank you for having me.
Of course, so we're here today to talk about your new legislation, the Laken Riley Act, and I know a lot of us are probably familiar with the story by now, but for those who are just now hearing about this, can you tell me a little bit about Laken Riley and why you decided to introduce this bill in her honor?
Well, she was a young lady that had attended the University of Georgia as well as the Augusta Medical School down at University, and was on her way to a very, successful career in nursing. And someone who loved jogging. She lived in the Athens area, there on the campus at UGA, out jogging one afternoon, and an illegal alien out of Venezuela attacked her and brutally murdered her. And he has been arrested. And so we have held a moment of silence for last week on the House floor. I'm not dropping this. We've been calling on local officials to resign. They need to resign. If you're going to act like a sanctuary city in the state of Georgia, which is illegal, but you're going to do it anyway, then you made that bed, you need to lay in it. And they need to resign. We've called on Mayorkas, who's been impeached. They're responsible for these policies at the Biden administration of allowing these people to invade our country. And he needs to go ahead and quit. I would not have left my home the next day if I were either one of those men without a resignation letter in my hand. But we're not dropping it there. Our next step is what we're doing now with the Laken Riley Act, which just simply states a sense of Congress acknowledging that the failure of Laken's death was due to Biden administration policies and the failure to use them. And the second step up it is to lower the threshold. Right now, there's a threshold in which local officials can contact ICE to come and pick them up. And we're just lowering that down because this man had been arrested in New York previously. He left that sanctuary city and then came down to the sanctuary city in Athens, Georgia on the list and kept his criminal, I guess, escapades going. And so he had gotten arrested for shoplifting days before this incident. And shoplifting is not on there, even though Athens was, Clark County, however, was not complying with contacting ICE. It was not one of the part of the threshold crimes that do that. We're lowering that, adding things like that in there. The third thing that we're doing is allowing states to take the Secretary of Homeland Security, take them to federal court, sue them when they're not doing their job. In this case, when they don't pick up for injunction, to make them stop and start picking up these people and let's deport them, get them out of our country.
So the second part of the bill, when you say ICE should be able to lower the threshold in order to detain them, what would then happen to that migrant once they were detained by ICE? Would they face deportation?
Well, if it's my options, yes, ma'am. They would find deportation very attractive and get rid of these people. But right now they're detaining them until they can adjudicate them. And this would have been one person that was off the street that wouldn't have been out there when Laken was out there jogging.
Sometimes when tragic events like this happen, some might push back and say politicians are politicizing this issue, using the tragedy to advance their agenda, or in this case, villainize all migrants. So I'm curious what your response is to this bill, because I'm sure you received some of that pushback. And in that vein, did you consult her friends and family first and get the blessing from the UGA community to make sure this bill was thoughtful and exactly what they wanted?
Yeah, I've been in contact with the family for a number of days. When we did the moment of silence, we wanted to make sure that it was exactly the way they wanted it, and I have been in contact them with this act the Laken Riley Act that we're putting through to make sure that there was something that they were comfortable with that they'd like to see done. And I think the number one thing they told me was they want to make sure that this doesn't happen to anybody else. It's devastating. It's something I couldn't imagine me going through. And if this act can help save one person by doing that, I have no problem. You can call it politics all you want. It's no problem with it. But what we're going to do is solve a problem. In this case, it is a political problem. And, so if it's defined as politics, I'm okay with that. We're still going to push this.